All right, so fam, we were talking about right now what's going on with the global South when it comes to U.S. AID. We're talking about all these other NGOs and stuff. We're talking pretty much about the CIA, which was pretty much admitted that they're running around the global South to do what they have to do. Okay, well, there was a rumor at one point that the generals in the military, the four-star generals, the ones who run things up top, were getting frustrated. We're getting tired of these three-letter agencies, including, most importantly, the CIA, especially the CIA, and the government for making these claims, whatnot, that would leave them high and dry. In other words, they felt that their power was being abused and whatnot. So right now we have a letter that was written to the Director of National Intelligence from some four-star generals, and I want to read it. And this is from Moon of Alabama. This is a great article and has some proof. It has some links in there. We're going to go over it really briefly. Dear Director of National Intelligence, we, the four-star generals leading the U.S. regional commands all over the world, are increasingly concerned about the lack of evidence for claims you make about our opponents. We are true believers. Do not doubt whatever judgment you make about the harmful activities of Russia, Iran, and China. However, our allies and partners do not yet subscribe to the bliss of ignorance. They keep asking us for facts that support those judgments. Unfortunately, we have none that we could provide. You say that Russia thought to manipulate Trump allies to smear Biden, that Russia and Iran aim to sway the 2020 election through covert campaigns, and that China runs covert operations to influence members of Congress. Media reports have appeared in which intelligence sources claim that Russia, China, and Iran are all paying bounties to Taliban for killing U.S. soldiers. Fortunately, no soldier got hurt by those rumors. Our allies and partners read those and other reports and ask us for the evidence. They want to know how exactly Russia, Iran, and China are doing these things. They, of course, hope to learn from our experience to protect their own countries. Currently, we are not able to provide them with such information. Your people keep telling that all of it's secret. Your people keep telling that all of it is a secret. In other words, they keep saying it's a secret, it's a secret, it's a secret. We therefore ask for you to declassify the facts to support your judgments. Sincerely, the generals. So what's happening, fam, is that the CIA is going around for geopolitical reasons, making these accusations, handing them over to members of Congress like Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and all the other goons who just step in line, the Rachel Maddows, the Chris Matthews, all these people there that regurgitate these things. But right now, our opponents, our allies are saying, well, where's all this proof from? These are just articles, and you're saying that all this is true. So there is some truth, I think, to what's going on within our military, that the military is getting really frustrated with these three-letter agencies, especially the CIA, and saying enough is enough. If you're going to make these accusations, provide us the evidence so we can tell our allies. And we're just going to start real quick by showing some of this. Putin helping out Trump by smearing Biden. Once again, they have no proof from this. They say sources, individuals who don't want to let their names be known. But now we have proof that Putin was actually trying to help Trump out by smearing Biden. Not true. Then we have Russia and Iran are swaying elections. Okay, here we go again. This is once again, these are more like the neoliberal, the Democrat side. Russia and Iran are swaying elections. And here you got your buddy, Pompeo, saying again that Russia and Iran aim to sway 2020 election through covert campaigns. U.S. intelligence reports. The CIA lies all the time.
It's like police investigating themselves. It's the same thing.
Same exact thing.
Yeah.
And then you have, now the conservatives, though, they have this, China's influenced our lawmakers all over the place. They're trying to do something. Here you go. You got Ratcliffe. Ratcliffe then repeats this kind of same fucking narrative without proof. John Ratcliffe says China running operations to influence U.S. lawmakers. So it's like both parts, right? The conservative part that kind of messes with the conservative base that says, oh, China's the one who's the real adversary. China's the ones they're paying off everybody in the Democratic Party. They found some links of money and whatnot and stuff like that, but it's nothing to what they're saying. They're making it look like China and Xi Jinping are pulling the strings behind the scenes. It's just not true. Same thing on the left. Oh, Iran and Putin, they're working together to swing the elections. So all this bullshit's been coming out, and the generals have finally put their foot down and said enough is enough. Here is proof once again about the CIA propaganda that didn't work. When you look about the whole Bountygate situation, memo raises fresh doubts on Russian bounty intel. In other words, they said that it was likely untrue, but yet every single person in Congress on the left, Eric Swalwell, Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff,
Democrats.
The Democrats went and used this story. Remember, Nancy, she almost cried, our troops, Russia's never got over their embarrassment when it did happen in Afghanistan. And now Putin.
And all of mainstream media, of course, echoed that same sentiment. And not just mainstream media, but a lot of independent media. So just when in context of on global context, right, when you're looking at the military turning on the state, right, that's a very important factor. When that happens in other countries, right, we saw it happen in Bolivia, we saw it happen in most revolutions. You need either the police or the military to turn on and side with the people. That usually causes a coup, a revolution of sorts. It allows it to be possible because the people don't have as much strength together. If you have somebody on the inside that could turn against the government, then it's effectively a coup. Well, if these generals are starting to get fed up with the covert, nature of the CIA with zero explanations, that means that there is a dissent among the ranks. That means that there is like people that are starting to realize what the fuck is going on. And with public pressure, this could be something that could lead to, at the very least, a tumultuous interaction at the upper echelons of the Pentagon, the State Department, obviously the military apparatus, and the national security state. Things that are effectively, really what's in control of the country, but, beyond the puppet presidents and the Congress people that run narrative management. Like, that is a very important development. If this is true and it's not just a QAnon conspiracy, like people were trying to make it out to be, because there was that aspect of it. That says a lot about the state of affairs. Well,
the QAnon kind of conspiracy took upon this kind of mentality where they probably had leaks and found out that a lot of people in the military were fed up with what's going on with the CIA and the way of the government, what I'm saying? And that's what we have to look for. We have to look for like Joe Biden replacing generals now. What I'm saying? He's going to find out what's what. To them, this is going to signal, who do we got to replace? We got to put our patsies in, like, General Lloyd Austin, who's going to do what we want to do and keep the military industrial complex nice and fed. But that's what they did. See, QAnon kind of took this whole thing and said, well, the generals are getting pissed off at the CIA and the government and the Clintons and the Obamas and the Bush clan for doing what they've done and forcing us to wars that were unnecessary. So they recruited Donald Trump to come and change this shit. I think that part is very bullshit about them recruiting Donald Trump. But there is truth to the fact that there is some dissent within the military. They have to be sick and tired and fed up seeing their soldiers getting killed all the time, using all their resources on a pack of lies. You know what I'm saying? They don't. At this point, they don't believe that they're fighting for freedom. They believe they're fighting for corporatism and for the elites to make money. And at the end of the day, it's their troops that are the pawns. We talk about not only this 50,000 people do American bombs kill every year, but it kills 22 troops every day from suicide because the PTSD from going over and fighting in these bullshit wars and being in places like Afghanistan as direct proxies to Russia, and that's why they're there more times than none, really is starting to weigh on a lot of people in the military in Iran. I mean, it's just like it's starting to weigh on these generals that are saying, enough is enough, and you need to start providing proof. You know what I'm saying? And we have seen this. You mentioned too, I think it was Ecuador, where we saw the military started turning on the cops saying, get the fuck out of here. And we saw them fighting in the street. Was it Ecuador?
It was Bolivia.
It was Bolivia? I think Ecuador had it too at one point. Maybe it was Bolivia. But we've seen it in the global south where the military was like, they started fighting on the side of the people. It was Bolivia. You're right. They started fighting on the side of the people. They had enough. I think that's why in Bolivia, they kind of got back, had a fair election, whatnot, because they knew that the military is not necessarily securely on the government side if they pull fucking bullshit like they were doing following the footsteps of the West. Yeah. So,
but people were protesting for over a year after Bolivia, after what happened to Evo Morales. So it didn't just happen overnight. People were protesting in the streets like really hard and fighting every day. So if you would want that to happen here, you would need to get people out in the streets to pressure along with anybody on the inside, right? To have some sort of change.
And Mark Milley is the name I hear mentioned all the time. A lot of people felt that Mark Milley, who runs, one of the heads up of the generals when it comes to the military, that he was frustrated with the government. He was done with this whole bullshit. And that there's some people who out there who still think to this day, fam, that the military is running the government. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're slowly running and they're going to be changing things. And there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't know about. I think it's bullshit. However, we can see that there is frustration growing inside the military, and likely so. I mean, it's deservingly so, because what we do all the time is going to lead our U.S. troops being treated like pawns. And eventually someone's going to say, enough is enough. I'm done with killing people, all for your corporate bullshit shit, all for your lies, all for the CIA to run their covert operations. And there was an article too as well, before we get to the next subject, that when Jimmy Carter ran on a reforming the CIA, and he was going to hire an outsider to run the CIA, and he was crushed by a lot of members of Congress, including Joe Biden, who wouldn't allow it happen. So they had their same patsy go back in. It was an article written by Jeremy Scahill, who's not been my favorite guy lately in The Intercept, but he did kind of point that out. The CIA, we need to get it under control, because if it runs rampant, if the CIA is running things, that's all it means is death and destruction.
Yeah.
And
there's no controlling the CIA.
Despite guys like Destiny saying, well, if you don't believe what three other agencies, which ones do you believe in? None of them. You don't have to believe them. They've always caused problems. We need to get rid of them.
Abolish the CIA.
We need to abolish the CIA.